Nancy Pelosi has been the leader of the Democratic House either in the majority or the minority since the 2006 blue wave during the George W. Bush years. Since then, the right has treated her as a focal point of pure evil, as one of the four horsemen of the socialism/Nazism apocalypse. However, in the past 3 years, that hatred and disdain for her has also finally started sticking on the left. Many people running in a more progressive side of the House have openly said they will not vote for her, and saying she's out of touch and not progressive enough. But is this true, or is it possible that progressive is being equated with new and young and charismatic, while anti-progressive is associated with older, non-charismatic technocrats? Much like Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi was not that charismatic and can appear stuffy and aloof. But that's because, like Hillary, she's too busy actually getting shit done. Being a leader in the House is not glamorous, and it never should be. The last person to try to make it that was Newt Gingrich, who entirely broke government and national discord. While she should be ready to explain what her House is doing, she's neither the president nor the prime minister, and the speaker's job is that of a boring technocrat. She's a bean counter and a persuader and a deal maker, and that's her job, and by all accounts, she's done it incredibly well, better than many who have done it before her. While she helps with elections and fundraising, strategy is mostly done by the party chairperson, but she gets blamed for bad strategy when it's not really her job. She's just there to take orders when the party chair needs her to make phone calls. She's never lost a vote in the House, and an incredible organizer, fundraiser, and vote getter, but many on the left don't like her because she appears cold and distant. When Obama was trying to push healthcare, she could have and was ready to easily get the votes needed for either single-payer or public option, but it was Harry Reid in the Senate who refused to end the non-consequential filibustering that gummed up the works, and we barely ended up with getting the ACA we have now, followed by the Republican senators, once they got elected, doing everything Reid refused to do because he was better than that. But Pelosi, who always did her damn job and got results, is the evil anti-progressive because she's not cool and charismatic. She's hyper-focused. She gets everything done she is asked of, even when she's only barely getting the votes she needs, and she can still squeeze some more votes out. The 4 pillars of activism are education, organizing, networking, and fundraising. Education is the most flashy and charismatic, and explaining yourself to the public is key. I'm good at this. Bernie is good at this. Education is great for the ego and can develop a cult following, but if you don't have people who can do the other 3, you're just a cult of personality, dead in the water and politically useless. Martin Luther King was an anomaly in the fact that he had his foot in all the camps and understood and valued all 4, but that was one of the advantages of being a pastor, especially back in the rather bureaucratic Southern black churches at the time, where most of the congregation was involved in Robert's rules and procedural votes on how to gain consensus in the church management. And even then, while he could appreciate all 4 pillars, he still couldn't be the best at all of them, and relied on people who were that you never heard of that had been at it thanklessly for decades. He figured out how to bring the young radicals and older, more timid conservatives in the civil rights movements together and get a consensus and work together. I'm useless at the other 3, as is Bernie, but he was able to hire good enough staff to make up for that to a certain extent. Hillary and Nancy are wizards at the other 3 pillars, but suck at education and charisma, so that hate is easy to spread about them. And they are terrible at deflecting that hate and criticism with lack of charisma. Elizabeth Warren didn't run in 2016 because she was busy learning how to do these things in the Senate, and is now viewed less and less as the rock star she was in Occupy, and more a part of the establishment every day because she's getting good at her job. You hear both Hillary and Nancy accused of appearing to be entitled to or clinging to power, when they're just kind of reacting the same way as you if you're in the middle of a hyper-focused job and get interrupted and have to justify what you're doing. You can come off as a little cranky and just trying to keep your head in the game of doing the job while not breaking any social taboos until you can get away from the spotlight and get back to doing your job. When you're hyper-focused and good at what you do, it's easy to come off as arrogant and condescending, but it's also normal for dudes to do that who aren't even that good, but women who do this are viewed as cold and uncaring bitches. Also, for a house party, a 20-year run used to be the norm, but over the years with people like Gingrich mucking things up and being obstructionist, the tenure of the House leader has gotten shorter and shorter. Pelosi has been the angry scapegoat by the Democratic Socialists, including the current darling Ocasio-Cortez, but thank goodness now that she's there and is capable of realizing just how much she really doesn't know about how Washington works, and after discussions, she's now realizing that Pelosi may be the best person for the job right now and is shifting her tune about supporting her. As Rachel Maddow pointed out, Pelosi led her party to the biggest sweeping victory since Watergate, while Schumer lost 2 of his seats in the Senate and has been milquetoast as hell on calling out Trump and all the presidential crimes and Republican hypocrisy, but got unanimously elected to his position again, even by Kristen Sinema, who claimed she would vote against him. But hey, he's a dude and Pelosi's a bitch, woman, so smear tactics work so much better on her. He is only a little bit better than Harry Reid, who made all of Pelosi's accomplishments look weak and pointless, killing any chance of universal healthcare by refusing to adjust filibuster rules that the GOP went ahead and changed anyway after we lost the Senate. But most of the millennials who hate her just recently got into politics and really know nothing about how hard she fought for it at all that time or any of her other accomplishments. Educators like myself need to realize that we are nothing without the other 3 and use our charisma, mine not nearly as much as some others, and education skills to defend them so they can do their job they are really good at. I really wish part of the House leadership involved a communicator who could never become Speaker, who could explain to the people why the Speaker was doing what they were doing, as the better you get at doing the job, the worse you tend to get at explaining and justifying that job. The House Democratic Party needs its own Neil Degrasse-Tyson to communicate the way science does. Just ask college freshmen getting taught by a 20-year veteran professor who just wants to get back to their research and are not that great teachers. You really don't want an educator to be the head of the house. You want to be able to get results. Being an educator alone doesn't make you the best leader. The other skills are just as much, if not more important. Not being an educator just makes you bad at winning popularity contests for jobs that require actual skills, like the congressional leader and the presidency. See Hillary Clinton.